Good morning. It's Monday. Rachel Schoutsen here with you, February the 9th, just after 5:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And here is a look at our developing stories. Friday the 13th. Yeah, that's this Friday. Scary temperatures. We'll get into those details. Pineapple Express finally slowing down, cutting you off there. And also, snow evacuates a community. This is a community in BC. Yeah, we'll be breaking down all of those details throughout the hour. Okay, let's get into our weather story now. I want to show you this. Finally seeing a break in terms of, well, a big nor'easter development. No, we are not calling it that at all. We could be seeing just a light bit of snow skirting through southern Nova Scotia, very likely today, and the cold, that is certain. Step outside and you'll feel these wind chills. Minus 25, that's an afternoon wind chill in Charlottetown. When we talk about the extreme cold, it is here. This could be the coldest week of winter, of the season. As we look at this afternoon throughout southern Quebec, minus 22 in Trois-Rivières, so right along the river you can really feel that wind chill coming into play. Minus 17 and light snow through the region as well. Now Chrissy Van, she's been busy all weekend long. Here's one of her reports from last night. All right, and Chrissy Van will be joining the show live this morning. She's just getting her way out to St. Catharines, where this stretch of the QEW winds out of the northeast. It is going to be cold, feels like minus 13, and also the snow finally leaving a clear day in store. And coming up, we'll be talking about BC's forecast. And don't go anywhere, because coming up, your local forecast is here. That's just on the 10th. Oh, the wind chills. We've become all too familiar with them, haven't we? Rachel Schoutsen here with you this morning. Happy Monday, by the way. As we recap Sunday, it was cold. Some of the coldest air in the country was over Ontario through the Great Lakes and stretching out into the Atlantic provinces. Today, same sort of story here. We will feel those extreme wind chills, especially when we look at the Maritime provinces. We're talking this morning wind chills into the minus 30s. So maybe you're out in Birchie Bay and you're down by the shore and let me give you a look at what the wind chills will be like this afternoon. Minus 25 in Corner Brook. Same thing goes for Charlottetown. Look at Charlottetown. This is the daytime high of minus 15. That is not even normal for an overnight low. So that's just how cold the air is right now. This is what Quebec looks like with the wind chills, minus 22. It is going to be cold. Now let me show you a video from Quebec here. Now I'll take you into Ontario, where the wind chill, also a big issue here, minus 13 in Thunder Bay, minus 19 in Geraldton. Winds are coming out of the northeast. That is a very cold wind. As we jump into southern Ontario, same kind of story this afternoon. Yesterday, the icy conditions were horrendous, and Chrissy Van was out, well, monitoring the situation. Where the QEW there, it is covered in snow. Not going to be a fun commute for many. Watch out for blowing snow as well. And coming up, we'll be breaking down some new storms coming into the Atlantic. A very good morning to you. Happy Monday. It's February the 9th. Rachel Schoutsen here with you alongside Chris Murphy. We'll start off in the west, where the Pineapple Express, it's finally getting cut off.
Oh, after epic amounts of rain and snow, we'll be talking about that throughout the region. We do have some light flurries falling across southern parts of the prairies, but snow on the way for you. We'll get you an update on the blowing snow in Ontario, but let's start in the east.
Yeah, let me take you into St. John right now, where this is mass amounts of snow.
Rachel, a high in St. John, New Brunswick of around minus 13. Dress for wind chills, though, in the minus 20s. And even colder than that this morning.
Yeah, and where we are going to see the snow today, that's going to be starting to move in just along the shores of Nova Scotia here. So we're not talking about a nor'easter.
About 5 to 10 centimeters, perhaps. Heavier amounts mainly for the south shore. So this one's really skirting you. But later in the week, we're going to have not one, but two storms that we're keeping an eye on.
And we are looking at some blowing snow throughout Ontario today. And over the weekend, we saw waves of snow. It was consistent snow. This was the scene in Oakville.
Well, it's like you scraped your windshield, you run into the store, you come back out, and you've got to scrape again.
You got to do it again.
Yeah.
So when we look at the snow today, it's all moving out. This is now going to be falling throughout southern Quebec. We are seeing a clearing throughout Ontario. And as we look into the future here for across the prairies, the moisture on the BC coast creating a few clippers.
Absolutely, and the risk here is not just some snow, but there's going to be the risk of freezing rain. Environment Canada may actually issue a few freezing rainfall warnings. And Lethbridge, Medicine Hat, and down across southern areas of Saskatchewan would be at the risk today into tonight. You can see a swipe there of 10 to possibly 15 centimeters is also in the cards.
I want to show you Winnipeg now. Take a look at this video. A little bit of a struggle there getting through the snow. Now, so dangerous for the drive there. and very cold temperatures.
That's a bulldog determination right there. Across British Columbia, well, the good news is Terrace and Kitimat, the heavy snow winding down, but there's still some snow to go in the mountains, still some rain showers to go on the coast.
And stay with us throughout the hour because we'll be breaking down all of your national weather stories. Just after 6 a.m. Eastern Time, after 7 out in the Atlantic. Good morning. It's Monday. It's February the 9th. Rachel Schoutsen here with you. And here is a look at some of our developing stories. We're talking about some dangerous roads to start off the week. Chrissy Van will have all those details. Friday the 13th. Scary in terms of the temperatures. Yeah, I'll have those details. And also, snow evacuates a community. This is in regards to the Pineapple Express. More on that throughout the hour. But first, let me show you what it looks like in St. John. Okay, as we look at some of the wind chills this afternoon, it is going to be a freezing cold day. So as you plan to dress the kids right now, dress for that wind chill. Minus 25, minus 22. Winds coming out of the northeast. That is a cold wind. You'll see the sunshine today, a mix of sun and cloud, but overall, it's going to be cold. A little bit of snow, by the way, along the coast of Nova Scotia. As we look at this afternoon throughout southern Quebec, again, the wind chills coming into play. Snow, very light snow moving through the region as well. As we look at our story in Ontario, Chrissy Van was out last night, and here's her latest report. I'll tell you right now, terrible road conditions throughout the Niagara region, especially on this stretch of the QEW here. And by the way, I was also checking out Pearson Airport's website. They have a few flight cancellations, especially if you are going to the U.S. Northeast. That's where the snow is moving through, Boston and New York, so you may be running into a few delays there. Also some cancellations out to Montreal. Now, as we look at the wind chill through this afternoon, also a story in Ontario, minus 13 for the city of Toronto, minus 16 in Barrie, the extreme cold. I want to show you this must-see video. This is where we're talking about 160 centimeters of snow, an overwhelming amount of snow, and that's all thanks to the Pineapple Express that continues to feed moisture into the BC coast. The south coast, you're influenced by that warm subtropical moisture, so this is falling as rain. Too much rain, though, 240 millimeters here. But here, the Arctic front making all the precipitation fall as snow, and this is where we see way too much snow in the forecast. Before we leave here, I want to recap some of the stories. Pineapple Express continues. Light clipper throughout the prairies, clearing in Ontario, and extreme cold out in the Atlantic. We'll continue to break down this story throughout the hour. And we're back. You're here. Rachel Schoutsen here with you. And I want to show you some incredible photos from our website and from Twitter. We'll start off in Ontario. This is a nice one here from John in Woodstock. That's an incredible snowman, isn't it? I think it took all the snow on the front lawn to create that one. But where you'll have no problem creating a snowman this big, that's out in BC. Have you been hearing this story in Kitimat, BC? Incredible amounts of snow. We're talking enough snow to cover the village completely. This one sent in by Vanessa. This here, look at that. So much snow. Geraldine, thanks for this one. We're also taking a look. This is just incredible, really. You can't even tell what's going on in this photo here with the mass amounts of snow. I want to show you a video out of Kitimat. Have a look at this, as this is mass amounts of snow. Where we look at Kitimat, up towards inland north coast, and this is where the Arctic front won out with all this moisture from the Pineapple Express coming into BC. So that's why we saw snow through this region here. 175 centimeters on the higher end, and then down towards the south, that was all rain. We're talking big amounts of rain as well, 240 millimeters in Squamish. So the story on Kitimat snow, it's going to continue here at the Weather Network. More coming up in Force of Nature as well as throughout the hour. I want to change gears and jump into Ontario now. Kelly Breeden sends in this one from Kitchener. Icy conditions. Looks beautiful on the trees there. Icy conditions out on the roads. Chrissy Van's going to be joining us to give us a little update throughout southern Ontario. Dangerous conditions. And we'll end with this. The big snow out in Moncton. I love everyone that's taking the weather selfie and sending in some photos. Donna Gallant sends in this one from Moncton, where it's really snow walls that line the sidewalks here. Just incredible. Well over her head. Let's recap the weather stories for today. We are seeing unsettled conditions as the Pineapple Express continues. A clipper moving through the prairies. Snow leaving Ontario, but light snow. Well, thanks so much for joining us this morning. Rachel Schoutsen here with you. We're taking a look at the wind chill right across the country. Freezing cold, minus 21 in Winnipeg. That's what it feels like. Minus 21 in Edmonton. Now, the science behind the wind chill. Here's more with Jacqueline. Oh, very important. So as you send the kids off to school today, think about temperatures like this. It's going to feel like minus 25 in Charlottetown with that wind out of the northeast. It's going to chill you to the bone. And this is what it looks like in Moncton. And yeah, getting enough fuel out there to all the plows that will need to do this service. So all the elements of winter making it real tough out there. Life out on the East Coast. Now, as we look at southern Quebec today, light flurries moving through. Wind chills also a big story. Minus 22. That's what it feels like in Trois-Rivières this afternoon. So sending the kids off to school again, you really have to think about, well, these very cold elements. Now let's take our story into Ontario, where this snow, it has been the story all weekend long. Waves of snow, continuous rounds of snow that is now making its way out. But what it's leaving is some very icy road conditions. When we talk about some of this ice, especially along the QEW, it's causing some travel problems. Chrissy Van will be joining the show a little bit later on, and will be bringing us more on this. Now I want to show you some must-see video. Take a look at this. Now that's some fun and some pleasant ice to look at, but this here with the gusty winds, the blowing snow, icy conditions, our target zone for some real tricky travel, that's stretching through here, Port Stanley up and towards Hamilton, even in through Oakville, Ontario as well. Just before we leave here, I want to show you some of the winds coming out of the northeast, creating that wind chill and also causing problems due to blowing snow. Freezing rain. What a story yesterday throughout Ontario. Driving conditions were a disaster. I was reading so many Twitter tweets about the 400. Very slow conditions, icy, trying to get up a hill. That was tough. And now you pair the wind chill in with that. You can expect some of that ice to be sticking around. Minus 13, that's what it's going to feel like in the city of Toronto with the wind chill. Let me show you the driving conditions though. The plows were out. They were treating the roads, but this snow came in waves. It almost felt endless for southern Ontario, didn't it? It was just continuous snow throughout the weekend. Now it is finally departing. We are seeing a few scattered flurries though down towards the Niagara region. Chrissy Van is in Grimsby joining us live right now. And Chrissy, yesterday the driving conditions were really tough, and I know you drive the QEW quite a bit. Give us a little taste of what it was like.
It's going to be a little bit of a messy and slow travel either way.
All right, Chrissy Van live in Grimsby. We'll be checking in with her throughout the show. Thanks so much, Chrissy. And you see that blowing snow around her. Notice the winds are coming out of the northeast, so this puts the Niagara region in sort of a target zone here to see some pretty strong winds this morning and also that blowing snow. So adding an extra element of winter that you're going to have to deal with on the morning drive. When we talk about some of the winds, you can see here right out of the northeast, gustier around the lakes today. That's why the wind chill really coming into play. And out in the Atlantic, same thing goes. This is the wind chill into the afternoon, minus 25 in Charlottetown. Well, thanks for being here with us this morning. Rachel Schoutsen, Chris Murphy,
Yes.
and some of our developing stories here. We're talking about the Pineapple Express being cut off, so drying out. We're also talking about dangerous roads.
Yeah, there's a lot of cold air. There's a lot of snow covered a lot of places as well. I know in southern Ontario, we're going to show you a camera in a moment there where it could be a little icy. Friday the 13th, that says Friday, and we've got some scary temps to talk
temperatures,
about.
and also snow evacuates a community. We'll tell you where that is coming up. But first, have a look at this. This is out in the city of Toronto, just on the Gardner.
The blowing snow advisory is now over from Hamilton to Niagara. That's certainly some good news. We'll be checking in with Chrissy Van, who's in Grimsby this morning.
Yeah, and as we talk about some of our national stories here, you can see this little bit of moisture here. This is going to move up into the Atlantic, and that's going to be bringing some snow today just along the shore of Nova Scotia. So looking at Yarmouth, maybe around 5 to 10 centimeters.
Freezing rain advisories in place. Medicine Hat, Lethbridge, and into southwestern Saskatchewan, Shaunavon down towards Assiniboia. So watch out for that. That's developing this morning in southwestern Alberta. It will move its way eastwards through the course of the day.
Okay, let me take you outside now, and let's join Chrissy Van. Chrissy, we've been talking about some of those terrible road conditions, and where you are in Grimsby, it's still snowing. So can you fill us in on what drivers are dealing with this morning?
Full bottle coming down the 400. It's sloppy out there, guys.
All right, thank you
Yeah.
very much, Chrissy. Absolutely, windshield washer fluid going through it by the buckets.
Oh, and you know what I find too with some of my windshield wiper, I guess, the dirt doesn't really get off of it. It's sort of like smudging more dirt around. So take some time, get a wet cloth, and actually clean off.
Do you even remember what color your car is?
Well, it's white.
Is it? Okay.
So mine's easy.
Oh, there you go. All right, so for tomorrow, we're keeping an eye. This system here looks like it could impact in East Newfoundland by Thursday. So we're watching that one very closely. Tuesday night and Wednesday, a small system clips eastern Newfoundland, maybe a few centimeters worth, but that is something we're keeping an eye on.
We're also keeping an eye on the extreme cold. We talk about
Yes.
some of the coldest air of the season coming into play later on this week. So,
Okay.
Chris Murphy, I love this tweet that Chris sent out. Lake Ontario's surface has 27%
That's
ice
right.
cover. So, February means more cold.
That's right. So we set the over-under line at 55% by the beginning of March, and we want you to play along. And Rachel, you're saying 52%.
Yeah.
So you're picking the under.
I'm saying just a little bit under, but we want you to chime in as well. So tweet Chris and I, what do you think the ice cover is going to be by the end of this month? And just ahead, this is different. If wind didn't cause this, what could have? The answer is coming up in Force of Nature.